Hello and good evening to everyone out there in internet land tonight. You're watching Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Edlin, W5KUB. I think we got something interesting for you tonight, so stay tuned. We got a few different segments. Hopefully, it'll be of interest to different people at different times. But stay with us. I want to say hello to all of our shortwave listeners listening on WBCQ on 5130 kilohertz. Coming to you from Monticello, Maine, up in the northeast where it's cold up there. I would imagine Lord Robert has snow on the ground. Lord Robert's in there with us tonight. He's running the station up there and making sure our audio is going through good. So we'll say hello, kind of a hi to Lord Robert up there. If you are listening on shortwave on 5130, please join us. If you have internet, you can join us at w5kub.com. W5KUB as in Bravo.com. You can join us, and there's a chat room. You can watch the video. You can see all of our guests, and it'll be cool to have you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com and give us a signal report where you are in the world. And I would love to hear from you. It's been, it's the holidays. Christmas is over. I know a lot of you got new Christmas presents. Tonight we're going to have viewer participation night. So we're going to ask our viewers to call in on the phone or Skype. We're going to put you on a show, and if you got a Christmas present and you want to show it, we'd be glad to have you. Or if you just want to make comments or join in and say hello, we'd love to have you on here tonight. We don't do that very often. Might be hearing a little bit of echo. Let me turn the monitors down here. Now I'm not hearing the echo, so that might sound better. Join us on Facebook. Go to the top of our web site where it says Facebook there in the menu and click on it. We'd really love to have you join our Facebook. Post all your pictures in there. It's great. You'll also be able to see what's coming up on the shows from that Facebook group. And also, if you'll click on news in the menu, you'll see what's on the show this week, except for this week, which I forgot to put it out there, so there's nothing there this week. But it will be out there. Our shows are always recorded, so you'll be able to watch it later. And hey, one neat thing about the show that many of you may or may not know, you can actually take the video, the little slider at the bottom of the video, and if you miss something during the show, you can actually slide the video back. It's like a VCR or digital recorder. You can actually slide it back and replay what you may have missed, and then you can go back to where the show is. So it's kind of neat to be able to go back in time and pick out part of the show there. Let's see, tonight we've got Rich Mosen, W2VU with us tonight, the editor of CQ Magazine, and we're going to talk about CQ Magazine. You know, Rich, I thought about it. I was going to have to renew mine, but I'm looking. It looks like I'm not paid up as long as I thought. Let's see. No, I'm paid up through January. I'm paid up through 1919. That's what it is. Gee. So I don't have to worry about that, I guess. Let me get Rich in here, and let's see how Rich is doing tonight. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you, and hope everyone had a good Christmas, and all best for a Happy New Year to everyone. And if you're celebrating any other holidays like Hanukkah or Kwanzaa this time of year, I hope you're enjoying those as well.
Well, hey, did you get? I know you got a Christmas present because look, I was looking at the December issue. Let me see if I can go back on the camera here. Hang on, let's see. Let me get my shot here. I was looking at the December issue and all those presents down here. I noticed one of them has your call on it to W2VU. So I know you got a present from Santa. You want to tell us about them?
Well, that was actually this year. I got more of an infrastructure present than a radio present. I got my bicycle serviced and fixed and new tires and new brakes and all sorts of stuff to put me in good shape to try to install a bicycle mobile station on there, which I haven't had in about 20 years. So that's in my plans for the coming year to try to get something bicycle mobile in the installed on the bike. So I got the bike in shape for it, and now I just got to get all the rest of the radios, antennas, etc. organized to go on board the bike.
So what kind of antenna are you going to put on that bike? I guess it had to be some type vertical, right? Maybe.
I haven't figured it out quite yet. We've got an article coming up in February in our QRP special called Gorilla QRP, written by Z35 Mike, who does a lot of traveling to places by bicycle and then operating from there. And in one photo, he uses the bike to hold up his antenna. And he's uses a fishing pole as a support sometimes for a wire antenna, and or a tree. So I think I would probably stick with, if I'm going to be doing some HF QRP from the bike, I wouldn't be while I'm riding. I'd be riding to someplace to set up, and then perhaps tie off an antenna to the bike or something like that.
Well, hey, I've got an idea. I kind of did something like this with my El Camino. Make the bike the antenna. Don't ground your radio to the bike, but make the bike the antenna.
Well, it's an interesting idea. After all, it's sitting on
it's on rubber tires. Yeah.
So it's not grounded.
Just don't transmit and touch your foot to the ground.
Yeah.
That might make a good antenna. We ought to try that.
It could, but I'm not sure what bands it would be resonant on.
Well, I would get me something like one of those little SG 237 auto tuners. It will tune anything to any band.
Good thought.
All right. Yeah. Well, hey, I want to see that when you get it going. Maybe you can come on here and show us some pictures. Show us some pictures of your bike mobile. So, what else is coming up in the in the next issue of the magazine?
January, we've got all sorts of good stuff coming up in it. It's not one of our themed issues, so we get to do a lot of different topics during the course of the issue. We got start out with a couple of interesting articles on DX and DXing. Start out with a piece by our resident historian W4YO on what makes a rare DX entity rare. The question of DX rarity is the title of it, and he's got it broken down into 8 different components. Is a very interesting read. We've got a good intro guide to DXing for either new DXers or people who are just finally getting around to playing with it, called DXing for Duffers. And that's going to be a good one right there. Of course, we have the results of the 2016 CQ Worldwide VHF contest. And we get to branch out a little bit again because this isn't a really particularly focused issue with a single topic. We've got an article on an experimental shortwave receiver that you can build or use as the basis for something else on your own. So that's a really interesting one as well. Speaking of shortwave, we're introducing a new feature this issue called Food for Thought, which is reader ideas on different proposals and ideas from readers for different approaches to things that are issues in the hobby. And we've got 3 of those in this January issue to get it off to a good start. And the first one that's going to be following the shortwave receiver article is a proposal to replace the traditional 599 RST code with the shortwave listeners' SINPO code of 55555, with some interesting discussion of why it may be more appropriate than and more informative than the 599 code. we get off into some high-tech stuff with a digital connection article on mesh networking and the Amateur Radio Emergency Digital Network. We've got a couple of pieces on slow scan TV, including another food for thought item on changing the signal reporting system for slow scan as well. So we've got a bunch of different stuff there. While we're in the higher tech area, VHF Plus editor WA8RJF takes a look at the 9 centimeter band, 3300 to 3500 megahertz. Not highly populated today, but if you look back 100 years or so, there wasn't a whole lot going on 80, 40, or 20 meters either.
I can remember when there wasn't much going on 2 meters, and that band is completely saturated now.
And another really interesting piece is our contesting column this month, which, as is frequently the case, has stuff that's not just limited to contesting. David Siddall, K3ZJ, writes about using the HFTA program, High Frequency Terrain Analysis, for optimizing antennas. The primary purpose of this program is to help guide you if you're in the process of putting up a tower or an antenna in ideal siting, but he's writing about how you can take advantage of it even if you already have your tower or towers up or don't have a tower, and just how to make the most of what you have available to you in terms of antennas. Really very, very interesting article. And finally, our propagation editor, NW7US, is predicting good conditions for 2017. That is, if you like the low HF bands, 40, 80, 30, and 160. 20 should be okay too, but the upper HF bands, of course, are going to be suffering from the declining sunspot cycle. But it should be a good year on 80, 40, and 30 in particular. That's the basics of what's coming up in the January issue. As I said, a lot of variety, a lot of different things. There's kind of something for everybody there, and it's going to be a really, really good issue.
Well, I tell you, I'm really interested in that shortwave receiver. We've started trying to do a little bit more building around here and get people interested in home brewing and building. So that would be something to look at. And we've been playing with the Arduino VFOs, which can drive that shortwave receiver probably. And you've always got a great article in here about kits. Joe K0NEB, who's in the chat room tonight, is your kit. What do you call it? Kit editor.
He's our kit building editor, and his column in January is about fixing a fluke, and that's as in a fluke meter. And he talks about picking one up at a flea market for a very low price, finding a very small problem with it, and fixing it and getting it up and running at an incredible bargain. So Joe's columns are always great to read, and we try, as far as with the shortwave receiver, since a couple of years back we had to integrate Popular Communications into CQ. We've been trying wherever possible to include articles related to shortwave listening as well as to ham radio. So many of our readers, in addition to being hams, are also shortwave listeners, but we also have the former PopCom audience there, and we try to continue to have relevant material for those readers, as well as our core CQ readers who are also shortwave listeners.
Well, I agree with you that shortwave listeners, many of them do become hams. Of course, that's how I became a ham back 50-something years ago, listening to shortwave, and boy, that was fun back then. And I don't remember having that SINPO or whatever back then, but gee, man, cool. And we're trying to make our show more.
I remember that code when I also started out in shortwave listening in the late 60s. And I remember that it's strength, interference, noise, propagation, and overall is what SINPO stands for. Got that from memory.
Yeah, maybe maybe it was there and I just didn't really use it that much myself, but I think you and I probably started about the same time. I got my license in '64, so probably 5 or 6 years prior to that, I was listening to shortwave on one of the old big Zenith radios.
You were a little ahead of me. I got my novice license in 1970, and did my shortwave listening on a variety of different radios. Realistic DX120, Hallicrafter's SX99, which was also my first ham receiver. So it was fun trying to tune in a specific CW signal on that SX99.
Yeah. Well, hey, hey, we didn't get to see Dougal tonight. Is Dougal around anywhere?
Yes, he is. He's sitting here on my lap. So, Dougal, say hi to everybody.
Now, does Dougal get into any trouble there in the shack?
Not much. He gets into trouble elsewhere, of course. But
Yeah.
he'll sometimes walk around on the shack table. But he's pretty good about not knocking things over up here and or things like that. But mostly he just likes to be here when I'm doing stuff down here. He's always, whenever I'm doing something in the shack, I can count on company.
Well, that's good. Well, Rich, anything else? Hey, you got any kind of special deals going or anything? I haven't got my digital subscription yet, but I really already get it.
We've got a special going on, I think, through the end of the year. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it is. You check the website and the CQ store, and I think we've got a discount on subscriptions going through the end of the year, or the end of this week, basically. So check that out, www.cq-amateur-radio.com. And hope everyone has been enjoying their December issue, our technology special, that you will be enjoying the January issue, which is on its way. And we're just wrapping up the February issue here and getting it ready to go to the printer, and that's going to be our QRP special. So we're always in 3 different issues at the same time.
Well,
so
that's great. And hey, boy, time is flying. I'm just thinking about the Dayton Hamvention coming up here. We're getting close, man. We're already almost into January. I guess for next place we'll see you is up in Dayton. You'll be there, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be in Xenia.
Yep.
Although I haven't locked down our hotel yet, but we'll get there. And also planning to be in Orlando.
Okay, great. Well, Rich, thank you very much for coming on tonight and being with us and letting us know what's coming up. And I'm looking forward to that shortwave receiver in next month's magazine.
My pleasure, as always. And again, I wish your viewers and listeners all a very, very happy New Year. And hope you've been having good holiday season so far.
All right. Well, thank you. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, and we'll say Happy New Year to you. And we'll see you here again in a few weeks. Thanks, Rich.
Excellent. Good night.
Good night. All right. Well, that was Rich. W2VU from the editor of CQ, and always has some interesting articles in there. Hey, one interesting article, let me find it. Look at here. In this month's CQ, you guys go to page 41, you'll see us in there on page 41. There's a picture of Katie and me and the world, and trying to get the word out about our program. So if you can help us get the word out, there's a lot of people that still don't know about this program. I'm surprised. I mean, we've got thousands that know, and there's hundreds of thousands that don't know. So we need your help to get that word out. Also, if you're not a member of our Facebook group, boy, please click on it. We're getting really close to the 5,000 number. I think last I looked, we had 4,950 or something like that. We need less than 50 people to reach 5,000. And, it was in February. I think it was February 2 years ago we started this weekly program. So In just a few weeks, we will have hit the 2-year anniversary for this show. I want to thank everybody for helping us make it successful there. Katie couldn't be with us tonight. She had some things that came up, but I don't know if she's in a chat room or not. She may try to join us in a chat room. I haven't looked, but we welcome her if she made it back in time. So if Katie's in here, say hello to her. We've got a segment tonight called Send Us Your Shack Pictures, and I got a few pictures in from some of our viewers out there, and let's look at some of the shacks out there and see what's out there. Now, hey, tonight is viewer participation. And we'd like to have you call in. And if you want to Skype me, you can call me on Skype too. My Skype address is W5KUB-1. But don't call yet. Wait a few minutes. So let's take a couple pictures, and then we're going to get into the Bix 40. Boy, I got some exciting stuff to tell you about the Bix 40. It is really getting popular. So let's see what we got sending to us. This is from one of our very faithful viewers, Andrew KD5PUR. There's some of his equipment there. That microphone is a 1934 D104 with the Heil D104 kit in it. And the receiver is an HQ140X. Speakers is a Helicrafters Military LS3. Got a Viking 2 transmitter, and looks like the amplifier is a Thunderbolt. I'm not familiar with the Thunderbolt though. Now I got to hurry and get this one in because this is Arno. This is Arno PB1HF. Arno's over in the Netherlands, so it's very late there. So let's see, it's about I'm guessing it's probably about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning there. But Arno stays up and is in our chat room and watches every Tuesday night. So he's over in the Netherlands. He's got an IC7300 there, a Kenwood TL922 for HF. Got him a Yaesu FT991, he says, for VHF, UHF, and C4 FM. Wow, he's not even using it for HF. I've just got a 991A here recently. He's got an ICOM IC92D, portable for D-Star. So that's Arno over in the Netherlands. And here's a friend of ours. This is Clint Bradford. Clint works a lot of satellite. This is his satellite shack right here. He does a lot of operating outside portable. He uses an FT60R turned down to about 2 watts of power, and he's using that tape measure beam. And we've showed you, I think, on the show how to build one of those. We've got one. Actually, when that picture was taken there, he was talking to Commander Wiseman, who was aboard the International Space Station at the time. That's Clint K6 LCS. We're going to move on to Dave Gardner, KB6ZNS. And let's see. Looks like an FT757 transceiver. He's got an FP757 power supply, FC757 automatic tuner for 10 meters, an FT2600M for 2 meters. Got him a boom mic there. He uses on Skype. That was KB6ZNS. Oh, I love this one. Look at this. This is from James Branch. James says, it's always 1962 in my basement. Isn't that a beautiful SX111, an HT37, and an HT41? Boy, it really looks good. It brings back old times. That's the era that I got my license, and that's the back. James Branch is KL7JBB. And let's move on to James Shaver into ADV. He's got an SB200, a 301, a 401, and a 600, a Kenwood TMD 700, a Kenwood R599. He's got an Elecraft K3 there. And above there, he's got a Gonzik communicator. I don't see that. Let's see, for 2 meters and 6 meters. At the operating position number 2, on the other side of the room, he's got a full FT101E, which includes a scope, external VFO, and landliner speaker, and a FT101ZD and a TS440. That's N2 ADV. Boy, he's got a lot set up here, and it looks nice and clean. If Kathy saw that, she'd probably make me straighten my shack up. Let's see, Garrett Kennedy. I think that's Gary, and I think he's in the chat room tonight. Z Papa 5 BVK down in Paraguay. So that's Garrett Kennedy down in Paraguay, who's in the chat room tonight. And there he's got an ICOM R7000, a Kenwood TS990, a Yaesu FT991, an ACOM 1500 amp, Bengali paddle, Vibraplex straight key. He says out of view he's got a KX3 with a pan adapter, and it's all hooked up to a hex beam and an Opta beam and a G5 RV and an 80 meter inverted V. Look at that. Boy, that's a nice looking antenna system right there. I need to get something like that. And then we're going to move on to Joe Neal, FTM 400 and an FT 450. There, I'm not sure where he is, and I don't have his call with us. But that's some pretty neat looking radios there. If you guys want to send me pictures of your station, we'll try to put them on the show each week. So looking forward to seeing what your setup looks like there. All right, just in a couple minutes, we'll get into the BITX40, and just something very interesting. I've been talking to Ashar Farhan, who is the man behind the BIX40, and he's going to be on our show next week. We'll probably devote most of the show to him, and he can answer your questions, and we'll talk about the BIX40. He's got some new radios coming out. Maybe that'll be a surprise. So I'll be back with you guys in just a second, and we'll move into that part of the show. Tis the season. The holidays are here. Surprise your favorite ham this season with the gift that is on their Santa list. The holidays are just around the corner, and ICOM has an array of radios to fill your stockings or place under the tree. Just arrived for the holidays, the IDA 51A Plus 2 provides new models for extended D-Star coverage. Available in 5 colors, the IDA 51A Plus 2 is a perfect stocking stuffer. It has terminal and access mode, send and receive text messages and pictures, DV fast data mode, and an easy FM repeater setting. Ideal for the contester on the go. Try out the IC7300. It's a high-performance, innovative HF transceiver with a compact design. The real fun starts here. RF direct sampling, 15 discrete bandpass filters, a large 4.3-inch color touchscreen, real-time spectrum scope, and an SD memory card slot. Push performance to the pinnacle with the IC7600. Following in the footsteps of ICOM's flagship radio, the IC7600 has an intuitive operation in the latest DSP technologies. It has a digital IF filter, dual DSP, a large 5.8-inch ultra-wide TFT display, and high-resolution real-time spectrum scope. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios. All right, now, boy, here's the part that I'm really excited about. You know, there's been so much interest on the BITX40 since we started talking about it on the show. If you're interested in the BITX40, there's a website you can go to. It's called hfsigs.com, hfsigs.com. I think he's increased the price a little bit on the radio, but let me tell you why and what it is and why it's such a good value. The original BITX40 was $49, which included shipping, and the VXO, or the variable oscillator, drifted a lot in it, which was not real good. So that's why we started adding the Arduino DDS VFO to it. In fact, Ashar knew that people would be building around this and hacking it and adding things on, so he put a connector there to plug your VFO into. Once we built the VFO, and we've got it running, and thanks to Ron, PA3 FAT over the Netherlands, who helped adjust all the software and create some new features. After we got that running and put it on the BITX40 board, it made it rock solid, not a single cycle drift. So it's really good. Someone asked in the chat room if I'd show the kit or something in a minute. I'll show it to you in just a couple minutes. So that was up $49 for that board, and it's already wired, already tested. All you had to do was add a volume control to it and a speaker and a microphone, and he supplied those parts to you for you to solder them on. So it really wasn't a real kit, but you had to do a little bit of adding some of the parts to it. And you have to get your own case, and that, of course, helps to cut down on the cost. Now, what Ashar has done is he now has a new model of the BITX40, which includes the Arduino Nano VFO and the same chip we're using for the VFO synthesizer, the SI5351 card. And he's packaged this all together. It all plugs together, and I think his cost now is, I think it's $59, if I'm not mistaken. But that includes the Arduino, the SI board, the LCD readout, so you'll have a frequency readout, and the BITX40. So you can't even buy all those parts. If you wanted to add those yourself, you couldn't even buy the parts for that. Now, I think it comes with the code already loaded. You would get, of course, the code that he's got in there and the functions that he's got. And what we've been doing on our side here is building our own configuration up and designing the software to make it do the things we want. We added an S meter to it, and we are adding CW to it and a few things like that. Let me show you, for those that are just tuning in again, I want to show you a contact, my third contact. I've made only 3 contacts with the BITX40, but all 3 contacts were to South Africa. I want you to see this radio in action. This is a 5-watt radio, and I'm gonna show you a little short 2-minute video, and let you hear me talking to South Africa. Now, what you've got to realize is I don't have a microphone. I don't have an external microphone on it yet. I've got the little condenser microphone, like a little computer mic, and if you'll look very closely on the front panel, right here, right there, there's a hole. And that hole is the microphone. So when I was talking to South Africa, I would push the talk button in, and I would talk into the box like this. So, I'm adding an external hand mic to it, which would be a lot better. But I want you to listen to this contact. This is my third contact with the BITX40, and all 3 contacts have been to South Africa. So here we go. ZS6CCY, this is Whiskey 5, Kilo Uniform Bravo, QRP. Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo, QRP.
Big 1, K5, Juliet United Charlie, hello Jim, 59. Okay Jim, thank you for the big report out of Arkansas. You allowed yourself, and thanks for those wishes, all of which are reciprocated to your household. Good evening, K5JUC, ZS6CCY.
ZS6CCY, this is Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo, QRP.
Good, QRP.
Yeah, this is Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo, QRP. Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo, over.
Okay, now what's the Whiskey 5 Kilo? Whiskey 5 Kilo, low power?
Yeah, this is Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo. Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo, running about 5 watts. 5 watts with a BITX 40, over.
Okay, I haven't got all of your call. I know it's low power. Whiskey 5 Kilo something?
Whiskey 5, Kilo, Uniform Bravo. Kilo, Uniform Bravo.
Okay, Whiskey 5 Kilo United Bravo. I got you now. You're 4x5, 45 on your low power, over.
All right, thank you very much for the contact. Thank you. ZS6CCY, W5, KUB, and you're 5'9" and about 10 over in Tennessee. Thank you.
Thanks for the 5'9". Good evening, Zulu 06 Charlie, Charlie Yankee.
Okay, so you got to see the radio in action there. That was my third contact I made, in all 3 contacts were to South Africa on different days. So that was kind of interesting. I saw when someone said it looked a little junky. Well, it does look junky, and the reason is this is a prototype. This is a prototype. See the case right there? Look at all the holes in it. And what this case is, this is an old DirecTV case that I put it in. Now, as we're building this thing, as we're building it, it gets very it's very delicate. You start breaking wires, and of course, what we're doing, we're changing parts, we're soldering, we're unsoldering, soldering, unsoldering, and we're changing parts, and we're trying to test different modules and different parts that we're developing and adding on. So this is a prototype. You can see the front doesn't look just real great, but it's not even labeled. But this is going to be an external mic. There's the push to talk button right there. There's the volume control, and there's the tuning. We're going to have a built-in QRP antenna tuner and a little watt meter add-on. We've already added the S meter. Ron has done the code to add the S meter. And if you want to see what the case looks like, there's the top of the case right there. So I was going to build it in this DirecTV satellite box. You can see I put a blank panel in the front. This is a neat little box, but the other box was just a little bit bigger. So I decided to go with it with the prototype. Now, we're going to build several of these. You know, to buy a metal box like this would probably cost you a lot of money. So I don't throw anything away here. Old satellite receivers, DirecTV receivers, we save them, and then we reuse it. It makes a great cabinet to put a project like that in. So let me show you a couple pictures. Again, this is a prototype. It's a beta. It's been, hey, I've actually drilled holes into it while the parts are in there, and that's not good because you know what happens when you put a drill through metal. You know, things kind of jump around a little bit. But again, it's a development box, and we're trying to see what all we can do with it. Once we figure it out and get the software done, in fact, the software is already published on our Facebook group. It's free. You can load it in your own Arduino and put this thing together and not have to worry about soldering and unsoldering wires like we've done the past couple weeks. So there's what it looks like with the cover on for right now. And you can see it's tuned to 7158, and it's on 10 cycle steps right now. By pushing the little tuning knob in, you can change the steps from 1 cycle to 10 cycles to 100 to 1 kilohertz, so you can really fine tune it. So inside, what I decided to do is just to try to mount the parts quickly in some type case, because as I said, this thing was getting pulled off the workbench, and parts were falling everywhere, and by putting it all together in a box, it gives it that mechanical stability and electrical stability that you need to really test this. So there's another shot of it from the front. Again, you can see the external mic's going to go plug in on there. You might not be able to tell too much from this. This is not a very high quality picture, but if you look at the center, you'll see 2 circles. That's a little perf board that we had to add, and I'll show you that. There we go, right there. It's just a little perf board. Now, that circuit built there is a little amplifier circuit that we needed to make the S meter work properly. So we built that up. Again, on our website, all this information is provided to everybody. There's the schematic right there. The parts are not critical. You can vary just about every one of those parts. They're not critical. And back on that board on the other half there, on the left half, we built a little attenuator to attenuate the CW signal. We're adding CW to this, and we needed to adjust the CW level. So, and what I've done, the top right-hand corner is the filtering for the power supply. There's a 12-volt regulator we put in there, some capacitance for filtering. And you can actually run this off of a little 7-amp-hour battery, 12-volt battery, or I'm going to run it off of one of these wall warts, or a power pack that you plug in a wall, something maybe like a laptop power pack, and it'll run on 12 volts. And the nice thing about this transmitter here on the board, he has to transmit power separate from the receive power. And if you want to run 28 volts on the transmitter, you can, and that'll give you double the power. So what I've got there's a jack on the back to bring 12 volts in, and if 12 volts comes in, it's again regulated, it's filtered, and the 12 volts will run the Arduino there, and the receiver and the transmitter. But if you plug, let's say you plug 15 or 19 volts or 20 volts in the back, you would still regulate 12 volts to your Arduino, but the 15 or 19 or 20 volts would go over to the transmitter. So it would make it run a little bit higher power. So that's kind of where we are today. We're adding CW to it. Ron just got his board yesterday, PA3 FAT in the Netherlands, and he's been hooking it up and playing with it now, and already he's looking at, and I'm talking to him about the next model. And the next model is going to have a larger display. He's already ordered some 2.5-inch screens, and they're color, and they're touch screens, so you can actually touch the screen. You won't have to have all the buttons on the front there. You can control a lot more things with the touch screen. So, that's coming out in another model here real soon. But next week we're going to have Ashar on here. He is the designer and the man behind the BITX 40. And he'll be able to answer all your questions. Again, if you want to look at that unit, go to hfsigs.com. You can actually order it there from India, and that includes postage, it includes shipping, it includes test. It's already tested, already put together. So it's a neat little thing. I'm gonna go ahead and order me a second one, so I can start playing with it. Now, again, a lot of us are experimenters, and we like to design and work on things like the VFO. But as I said, you can buy one already with the Arduino VFO from HF Sigs, and basically all you'll have to do is put this thing in a box and cut holes in the box and put the display in there, and you put your volume control on there, and a earphone jack and a power jack. That's about all you have to do. So let's see. I'm going to look at let's see. Okay. Tonight was going to be call-in night. Let's see. We're at about 10 minutes till the hour. I'm going to put the number up, and if people would like to call in, we'd love to have you call in to the show. There's the phone number. And would love to have you call in and say hello or ask questions about the radio or anything. Tell us what you got for our Christmas. And if anybody wants to try to Skype in, you can Skype in at W5KUB-1. And I'm going to read the chat room real quick and see if there's anything that I need to answer. Okay, Kathy's reading it and says there's nothing there that I need to answer. So we've been busy trying to do a little work on the BITX40. We've also had a lot of changes in the studio here for our webcast we're working on. And it's been really busy around the holidays, but soon we hope to get back into it here. Mickey wants to know how long until it arrives. It usually takes about 3 weeks. 3 weeks to get it. We're adding CW capability to it. The VFO easily goes into CW band that what we have put together. Ron has set the code up where the Arduino puts out a CW tone, an audio tone, and what we're going to do is we're going to feed that back into the mic circuit for CW. And I've already listened to it. It sounds really clean. It sounds really good. All right. Pat says they love our testing videos. I don't know if that's one of our. Maybe they're talking about when I test with the music on or something. I'm thinking about maybe we should just put a radio station on here and get off the ham radio or something. But anyway, tonight, hey, if you guys tuned in earlier tonight, you probably saw my twin brother Raul. He's got a black mustache, and he's from the some ranch down in Texas. I don't remember what it said on his hat, but anyway, Raul was on here helping out with the show a little bit. Well, okay, no callers yet. 901-286-1116. If you're listening on shortwave and you'd like to call, the phone number is 901-286-1116. So what we need to do is make some contacts with some of you guys. I think that's what you're talking about in the chat room, with the BITX40 recorded on your end. I didn't get a great RS2 report from South Africa, this last contact. I think he gave me like a 4-watt radio and a V. All right, hello, who's on the phone? All right, let me know where you're located.
Yeah, yes, this is Randy, W4 Little.
Okay.
The Swan would hold
I mean, if you're here at my fingertips, and it's only about 2 inches square, the Bix radio, the Bix BITX 40 radio, it's about 5 inches square. So you know, and you could stack these things if you got height. You could put boards on top of each other, and
yeah, Yeah, I've got
and stack them.
a couple of real nice cases, and I was thinking everything would fit there, so that would be a nice way to use my old cases that I'm not, So
It really would, and this radio is made. It's made. Well, they call it for hackers and people that like to modify it. You get the board. The board's already wired. It's surface mount technology. It's tested. All you do is, and you get a bag with some extra parts. You get the volume control. You get the tuning control. You get the display. And what you have to do, you have to solder wires on those parts and connect them together. But you don't have to build a radio. But SR, he looked at this radio as one that is a builder's dream. You can add on what you want to. Like this one didn't have CW. We've already added CW to it. It didn't have an S meter. We've got our own S meter running on it. You could put a packet in there. You could do just about anything you want to with it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So yeah, if you get interested, and you want to see more about it, come by sometime. And Randy, like I said, if you don't want to, I'm not real good with the code myself. When I say code, the software that you load into the Arduino, and Ron has developed all the software that makes ours do what it does. And we've got that software listed on our Facebook group. All the software is free, open source. People can get it, put it in their Arduino. They can modify it. They can add new features to it. So if you want to do that, you can do it yourself. Or if you don't want to, and you don't think you can handle that part for all of our viewers out there, you can order the Arduino part. You can order the radio now with the Arduino from HF SIGs that already is configured and already has the software in it. You just put that thing together, and it tunes all of 40 meters, and it's really cool. As of a couple months ago.
One more question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah, what time of day did you work the South African on 40 meters?
Well, that was my third time to work him. I think it was probably around 5 o'clock in the afternoon most days.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Hey, I'll let you get back to the show, and everything looks good here on my laptop.
Well, okay,
Good job,
and guys out there in internet land, that's Randy WB4 LHD, Little Hot Dog, and he's
Thank
actually.
You, bye bye.
All right, bye bye, Randy. We'll see you. He's actually in the same city as me here. Okay. All right, the phone line's open. Phone line's open if anybody else would like to give us a call. 901-286-1116. We'll open Hangout up here in just a few minutes. You know, it's kind of interesting that the little mic that you get with the kit, it's like if you ever taken one of these computer mics apart, it's just a little bitty microphone. Let's see who we got calling here. All right, hello, who's on the phone?
Thank you for using where'smycellphone.com.
Okay, well, that was somebody, I guess, punking us. Okay. All right, well, again, 901-286-1116. We'll be opening Hangout in just a minute. So our show's going to be a little abbreviated tonight if we don't have a lot more participation. I want to thank everybody for sending in pictures. They were kind of cool to see your shack, and we'll try to do that each week. If you guys want to send some pictures to our Facebook group, we'll try to pull those off and get them in the show. and show them as we can. The question is, can it be used on other bands? TX20. And but the thing about it is, you can modify that radio for any band. Ashar says you can change it to any band, and basically it's just a few parts to change it. And that's why it's so interesting to builders, that you can do just about anything you want to with that radio. Now he's coming out with a new radio. He said, I talked to him today, but he didn't give me any details on it. I don't know if he's not wanting to release the information yet, but he will be on a show next week. The man behind this radio, he'll be on a show next week, and we'll get into depth about the radio, and he surely can answer a lot more questions and tell us about the new radio. I know since we've started showing it on our show, there's been a lot of interest. People are even asking for a 6-meter version of it. All right, did anybody get anything neat for Christmas? Give us a call, 901-286-1116. If you're a shortwave listener, send us an email to tom at w5kub.com, and I would love to hear from you. We're going to do Hangout. I think Kathy's going to go ahead and post the Hangout link, maybe. It's right about 9 o'clock here. So we're going to go ahead and bring Hangout up. And Robert there at WBCQ, if you're listening, in a few minutes here when we get Hangout going, if you want to drop the radio station connection, you can, because usually when we're on Hangout, it's not that exciting for our shortwave listeners. But I want to thank Lord Robert up at Monticello, and also Alan Weiner, the owner of WBCQ. And hey, if you guys want to put your own radio station on, you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands or $1 million to put a station on. You can contact WBCQ at WBCQ.com. Tell them we said to contact them, and Alan has got a special deal, $25 an hour. Will get you your own radio show on the air. So you can send in a audio tape or a file or whatever, a CD. There's all kinds of ways to do it. We're doing our show live each night through WBCQ through the internet. So contact WBCQ at WBCQ.com if you're interested in putting your own radio show on. Do whatever you want to. Play music, talk show, whatever you want to do. You're free to do it. It's a free speech radio station. There's not many of those around anymore. All right. Let me ask the Lord Robert. Robert, how much snow you got up there? Do you have much snow on the ground? I know he's in snow country. Kathy, did you get the link out? I guess you did. Did you get the link out to? Okay. All right, the link is out for Hangout. So I'm gonna see if I can bring Hangout up myself here. And let's see who's on Hangout tonight. Got to click a couple buttons. All right, we got a few people in here. Let's see who there is. Bill, I see Bill. Boy, we got a group in here. I see Bill. I see Jim. I see William. That's William. You're Bill 1. Bill, you're Bill 2. And I see me. And who is Jim? Jim, hi Jim. Let me get. There we go. Jim, do you hear me, Jim? Who is Jim?
I think Jim is muted.
Yeah, he is. Jim, your mic is muted. Okay, well, maybe he'll unmute the mic and join us here in a few minutes. So this is Hangout. This is the official, unofficial part of the show where we have our loyal viewers connect into the show. Stuck around for Hangout before, you know us. This is Hangout. This is the official, unofficial part of the show. All right, Mike is doing it to us. Mike.
Yeah.
There we got Mike up in the. Mike is an Ooper. Ooper? Did I say that right? Ooper? An upper. He's up in Michigan.
Wait. The UP.
Up in the UP up there. Okay, let's see.
He's got some serious auto gain control on that. Is that the iPad you're using?
On which one?
What are you using for Hangouts?
I'm just on my computer here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It definitely has like some serious auto gain control because when you first come on, it's all like hiss and static.
Hey, before I forget it,
because you talked. As soon as you talk,
Unless you're hearing the Red Wing game on behind me here.
Hey, before I forget it, I need to mention. Let's see. NY2 MC Mickey said, "Don't forget ARL Kids Day is January the 7th, so that's coming up soon."
Yeah.
All right. I saw Jim. Jim, say something.
Hey, how you doing, Tom?
Doing good. What Jim is this?
I gotta hook my Heil mic up to my PC. Then everything will be hunky dory.
It's working. Well,
Cool.
What's your call, Jim?
November Oscar 1, Papa Charlie.
Okay. Very good. Now,
This is pretty cool, guys. I think this is great.
Yeah,
Great interaction.
Is your last name start with A?
Yep.
Okay, I know who you are.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
That's scary.
That's okay. Yeah, I know who you are, and I know what you did.
Okay.
Now, we don't have your picture. Do you have a camera there?
Yeah, somewhere in here I can.
Well, that's
hook up-
okay. I mean, I didn't know if you may be on a witness protection program. I don't know.
yeah.
No, but DHS knows who I am.
Yeah, okay. All right, very good. All right. Hey, Bill 1, what's that you got hanging up back behind you? Is that some kind of flag of some new country back there?
Let's see.
That's the ARL flag.
Yes, ARL flag. It just hides my mess behind me.
Oh, okay.
Not very well, unfortunately.
Trying to make the shack look neat. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that kilo-looking thing up there above, wrapped up in that white?
Oh yeah. Well, we won't talk about that.
Okay.
That's actually summer tires for the truck.
All right. So,
KCFTV here now.
we had Mark. Mark joined us.
From a game.
2, 3, 4 weeks.
Hey,
Now, Mark, where are you from, Mark?
I'm from northeast town Aurora.
Oh, that's right. You're up in
Hey.
Ohio.
You got you meet so many different people. That's not a problem. We can tell you where each of us are from. The only one person name you gotta remember where they're located, and that's yourself.
Yeah. So, Jim, this is the first time you've been on Hangout with us, I think.
Yes, it is.
Have you been? I know you've been on our Facebook group. Have you been attending the show? Or are you a newcomer to it?
Well, this is the first night I've been able to get to the show because I decided not to cook dinner tonight, and I've got a local Aries net in about a half an hour. But we're cool. I'm really intrigued by the HF kit and the work you're doing. I think it's very impressive. Very good for the community.
Well, I'm just following in the footsteps of others, and with a little experience and the kind of things you want to do, you just kind of add on. Everybody just adds on.
Well, that's what it's all about. I think none of us came into this hobby as a natural talent. We all had mentors. we all had advisors and sources of stuff, be it QST or Wayne Green or the folks at CQ, and we need to keep this going. The quality of technology we provide and things like the kit you guys are working on, it's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when I made those contacts, and like I say, I made 3 contacts with it, and all 3 contacts were on different days with South Africa. So maybe I have a pipeline down there or something.
Well, you're blessed being in the Mideast or the Midwest. Sorry, oops. I'm very envious of the DX that is available to people east of the Mississippi. We get very little Europe and occasionally some South Africa from here in California, but DX is hard to snag out here.
Yeah. Well, it's an exciting little radio, to tell you the truth. And man, I'm so surprised. So many people that are watching here are ordering them, and I'm hearing from them every day. You know, I've got one on order, or I'm building one, or mine came in today. So, and it's going to take probably everybody to help others out, and share the connectivity and the software with people that want it to do what we want. And if they're able to modify the software to make it do additional things, they can share back.
Well, that's a good thing. It was kind of funny. One of my grandsons, when I got him on the SantaNet this weekend, he said, I want electronics. So it immediately drove me to the local Fry's store to get him a 101 project kit, and his dad bought him an Arduino experimental kit. And as soon as he calms down enough to understand Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's law, and we'll have a few demos in the shop here, I think him building his own HF radio as an extension of both those will be a really great thing for kids.
Oh yeah. Well, and how old is he?
He's 10. He's a very, very, very hyperactive 10.
Well, you know what though? I mean, hey, I hate to admit this, but man, I can get a new phone now, and I can't figure out how to make the ringer make a different sound. And any 10-year-old can walk up and take that phone, even if they don't use that kind of phone, and start pressing options and make it do what you want to. They're just growing up with that stuff now.
Yeah, they don't know dial tone, they don't know static, they don't know test patterns, they don't know any of this stuff, and
yeah, that's right. So let's see what we got. Let's look at let's call Bill number 2 in. He's leaning back in his chair.
I
There
believe
he
he
goes.
he's muted because his mom is watching some program on the next room. So
No, you're Bill 1. I was talking about Bill 2.
no, that's what I said. I said he sent a message and he said his mom is watching TV in the next room, so he doesn't want to unmute himself.
Oh, well, he leaned up toward the mic. I didn't know what was going on there. Cool.
Maybe he's trying to see the screen. He says, "No, I am muted."
Bill number 2, relax. Set back, Bill number 2.
we need to get off these electric picks up everything microphones and get some cardio dynamics.
I tell you, that little microphone that came with the BITX40, it's just a little, what do you call it? The condenser, little computer condenser mic, have to have a little voltage on it. But I just drilled a hole in there and glued it to the back of the hole, in that case that you saw tonight. And it's kind of funny when I was talking to the guy, I had to push the button in and kind of lean up toward the box and talk into it. But I'll be adding an external mic to it pretty soon. It might not even sound as good as the condenser mic. Who knows?
It's all good. I was very impressed. I mean, whether or not you got a 4XX signal report out of the guy, you did work him. So that's pretty good with 5 watts from where you are all the way to South Africa.
Yeah. The first night I worked him, I'm not even sure I had any watts coming out. I hadn't really played with it yet, and I hooked it up, and the watt meter was showing 0. I still made a contact with it.
get a new watt meter, but you have two of them on your shelf back there.
Yeah. And obviously, the watt meter I got over there, even though it has a low scale, for some reason it's not reading. Whereas I've got another watt meter or two here that, in a tuner that works. Those, I think you're referring to those.
The birds, of course,
yeah,
the Bird
back
43.
there. I don't have any HF slugs for them. All my slugs are like VHF or UHF. So
yeah, I've got that same problem. I've got all broadcasts and commercial slugs in mine, so I got to revert to my Heathkit SWR bridge for anything on HF.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, I got one that. One watt meter that wouldn't read anything, and then another watt meter that was in a little a tuner box. It read 5 to 7 watts, so it was doing a good job, I guess. It was.
So, what antenna did you have that rig hooked up to?
That was a 40 meter. Well, that was a inverted, a 3-band inverted V. I've got legs on it for 80, 40, and 20.
Oh, very cool. But most of my DX has been from my Mobile with a High Sierra or a Tar Heel. So at 100 watts. So I got to wonder when I put the 500 watt amplifier in the truck, what I'm going to be able to do, and the limiting factor is going to be the receiver, because I'm going to have more than enough juice out of the truck to talk to somebody.
Well, I've got a friend, Dan. I think it's N9 LVS. He runs a kilowatt mobile.
Wow.
And I don't know what kind of trouble it causes, but I think he can. I don't know if he can light cars up that come up beside him or shut them down, or there's always something that RF gets into.
Well, that's why I every mobile install I insist on completely bonding everything to everything. I've had the privilege. I think I have the last living copy of Don Johnson's HF Mobile Earring book, and in 5 minutes and meeting Don and 15 minutes absorbing his book, I think I learned more about mobile HF than anybody can share, which is kind of a passion of mine, is to redo Don's work since 1948 into present day mobile environments, given construction and technology and all the stuff that's in these new vehicles. My stepson showed me his wife's brand new Audi, and all the display is video. There are so many computers in that car; it's just amazing. So what we're driving around today with analog and mechanical meters just does not exist for the new population of this hobby.
I'm always afraid to put a mobile rig in a new car because I'm afraid I'm going to explode an airbag or something on me.
Well, we can prevent that. There are ways to do it. I've had the benefit of working with a couple of people from California Highway Patrol Radio Shop, and people who've engineered their installations. And CHP is still on all on low band, 42 to 45 megahertz stuff. So they have similar constraints to those of us who are working HF Mobile. They're none of the panels on a vehicle are an appropriate counterpoise. So CHP, both the vehicle shop and the radio shop, have got a lot of work to do to assess whether the chassis that they're putting 100 watt low band radios in is going to be suitable for the RF they're presenting, and that's total life safety. And I think if you can build and construct around life safety, be it our public safety people or our armed forces, I think we can convey a lot of that to basic amateur radio technology.
Yeah, you were talking about all the different computers in the new cars. I've got a Silverado truck, and last year I had it parked in the garage. The garage door was closed, and I went out of town, But the day I went out of town, we had a major, terrible lightning storm. It hit all around the house. The neighbors witnessed it hitting it like in the backyard, but it killed, I think, 4 computers in my truck, and it was in the garage with the door down. I mean, it killed my garage door opener. Of course, I was right above the truck and blew the keypad off the garage door, and intercom systems and internet modems and I forget what all. But yeah, the dealer, I got the truck back to the dealer, and I think they put 4 or 5 computers in it. It took them a week or so, but it just wiped everything out.
Well, nature, be it lightning or propagation, is a governing factor in everything we do. And she's generally not forgiving. So.
That's right. All right, Bill 1, you got your cigar going here? No?
Oh, cigars! I got scotch. I got a brand new bottle of Glenlivet here.
We usually Bill and everybody gets on here and they puff cigars. The smoke gets so thick on here that I can't even see in the shack here. I mean, and I don't smoke, but I'm surprised you're not smoking a cigar tonight. And Doc's not on here with his cigar.
Yeah. Well, it's cold outside, and I don't want to open up the garage door and lose this great heat that I got pointing at me right now.
Well, we got Kurt up in New Jersey in the chat room. He usually lights his pipe up with you guys. I don't know why Kurt won't get in hang out here with us. Hey, the number, if anybody wants to call in, 901-286-1116. If you want to join us on the phone, you can.
You're going to make me break out a nice Italian shorty here.
There you go.
You can't buy them in the States, so I'm going to have to go back to Italy and bring back a suitcase full.
Yep, Kurt's in there. He's going to light his pipe up.
There he goes. Yeah.
Kurt, you could join us someday, Kurt. Yeah, Kurt always talks to us through the chat room. He never calls in or he never gets on Hangout here. So, Kurt, 901-286-1116. Kurt came to Memphis one time. He knocked on my door. I answered it, and he ran, got in his car, and left. He didn't even stay.
It's not like you're a scary dude or anything. What's up with that?
I am, man.
I don't know. That stash he had on earlier, that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. At least you didn't have a flat-billed ball cap with some gang symbol on it. I got to do a little promo here. Here we go.
There it is. Little brown chicken, brown cow.
There you go.
We'll get this in the shot.
There you go. Something Tower.
Sutro Tower. Mount
Tower.
Sutro in San Francisco. I am the third ever amateur radio repeater on this massive broadcast tower in the center of San Francisco.
Oh, awesome!
Awesome,
cool.
Awesome site, awesome place to visit.
Cool. So
you don't want to you don't want to ever have visions of having children after being on that tower. But awesome site.
Yeah. How tall is the tower?
934 feet at the base of level 7, where all the high power combined broadcast stuff is. Level 5 is the receive only rail for public safety, commercial, and some ham stuff, and that's all coupled and amped up to fed down to levels 3 and 4 for the commercial and the new amateur presence. So I'm on level 3, which is about 340 feet above ground at the base of the tower. So I've got a rack and a UHF repeater. I will have an all-star node. We're linked to the CalNet system, which originated in Southern California. So we've got really nice coverage. And this is all Sutro Tower being in San Francisco, not to get political, but San Francisco is a little sensitive to their surroundings. And Sutro Tower is a very vivid reminder of, oh my God, there's RF that's going to hurt my dentures. For years and years and years, from the original mini tower that was there to this massive construct, community-built construct, there has been no amateur radio presence at Sutro Tower. And to kind of make the public feel good, the new managing engineer said, well, we can do something for the community. And the right amateur radio effort that approaches us is eligible for tower space to help out the community. So having become good friends with the engineer, I said, I have a box. I want to be on Sutro. When do I show up? So I'm tower certified. I get my radio, my hard hat. I get to push the elevator buttons. I get to go to any level I want. It's really impressive hanging out on a steel grate at 340 feet in the air, 900 plus feet above the city of San Francisco. The views are gorgeous. The radio coverage is absolutely stellar. It's a memorable place to be. So
yeah, outstanding.
It's pretty neat.
So Andy's in here, thought I was Freddie there for a minute. You guys that know Freddie, I guess I look a little like Freddie. I don't know.
Freddie?
Yeah, Freddie is from Venezuela. He's one of my engineers, and he helps us out. He's part of the show, goes with us to Dayton and places like that. YV5QF, and he has a mustache, kind of like this one. So,
that looks really good on you, Tom.
Well, I used to have one. I had one for like 20 years, and I had this. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't tell the story here. Why not?
We're not on the air.
I had this boss. He was the worst boss in the world. Everybody hated him. I mean, he did really bad things, and nobody would stand up to him. And even managers under me, they wouldn't even face him or stand up to him. They said, "Man, we need our job." So anyway, enough was enough, and basically I just told him either he's leaving or I'm leaving. And the next thing I know, the next day he wasn't around anywhere, and he had left for good. And I shaved my mustache off. They had a party that night. My whole group had a party that night. For that, it was also somebody else's birthday, and I said, well, I can't come if you're celebrating the guy leaving, but if it's a birthday party, I'll come. And I shaved my mustache off, and I had my mustache for like 30 years, 25 years or something. I shaved it off, and you know what? I went in, and they asked me, did you get new glasses?
The only problem is now you're going to have to dye your hair to match it.
Yeah, well, actually.
Us old guys have that problem. I'm just waiting for mine to go all silver and forget it.
See, my beard matches my hair, so.
This beautiful silver-looking hair. I go to the beauty place every other week, and they put this coloring on. My hair is actually same as the mustache.
I just need something
They
to put
color
on,
it this
all.
color. I think it looks cool, Hey, we ought to have what we ought to do, guys, one night on Hangout? We ought to have a masquerade night. You guys ought to, you guys ought to get you something and come on, and let's see if we can figure out who you are,
Yeah, except we know we'll have to change our aliases on Hangout or join.
Yeah.
I got a closet full of Halloween costumes.
Takes a lot of effort to do that, though.
Yeah, somebody said I look like Super Mario.
Yeah.
So we got to get you a little mobile go-kart.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with all the legacy test gear you got on the shelf there. It looks like my shops.
I'll get back in disguise, man.
There you go. Well, I'm going to run out, Tom, so
all right.
Take care.
All right.
Have a good New Year. We'll see you next week.
All right, Bill 1, we'll see you. I think it'll be a good show next week.
Next year.
Oh, it is next year.
It's almost next year.
See ya.
Okay, well.
All right, we'll see you.
Mark's
night.
still quiet in the background there. Bill's still quiet in the background.
Well, Tom, I didn't get any M&Ms for my daughter for Christmas, but she sent me this nice Mike's ice cream bowl this time.
Let me tell you, I got
ice cream.
M&Ms for Christmas.
Wait,
Man,
yeah, Dad's ice cream plow. So she didn't send me 7 pounds of M&Ms for Christmas like she did my birthday. But
Hey, I got M&Ms for Christmas, the regulars and the peanuts. I
Oh,
bring
and
them
I
in here.
didn't
I
get
bring them in here to
them.
eat in front of you.
I just got parts of my quadcopter. Now I'm waiting for new props so I can fly it. Hang some antenna wire.
We got Mark P. That's a friend of mine. Mark P. up in he's in Kettering, Ohio. Hey, Mark, how you doing, Mark P? Are you going to be at Dayton? At Hamvention? I can't call it Dayton anymore because now it's at Xenia or however you pronounce it. So we usually see Mark up here every year. So, Jim, you're a one. Where do you get the call?
Well, I grew up in Wisconsin. My
That's
dad
not a
was
one.
ham since the Air Force gave him a general or a conditional license in '53. So I was WN9 GVF for about a year before I got my tech. And when I generaled, or at least when I extra'd, I decided, well, I ought to have an age-appropriate call and change it to K9 GVF, which is Golden's Very Fast or Great Virgin Fancier. Modify that as you will. And somewhere along the vanity call sign process, I had seen for a very short period of time that there was an NO prefix. I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And then it disappeared and it came back. Since I've been so intimately involved with the personal computer market, software, hardware support, thus my comment, I currently manage 29,000 PCs globally. I said, well, what a better call sign than #1 PC, personal computer. So
that's cool.
Kind of melds both hobbies.
That's cool.
Of course, it confuses everybody because they want to go N01. Wait a minute, N01? That doesn't work. So
yeah.
Very difficult.
Let me tell you. I tell you, somebody won a prize. And here's a sad story. We give away prizes on our webcast all the time, and somebody won a prize, and their call was like, I'm going to mess it up here, but I'm going to give you an example. The winner was like WO0L.
Ooh.
And somehow we sent the prize to W0OL, and he was a silent key, and it upset his wife that we were sending stuff, but O and 0 and O,
I really think Microsoft and Apple need to bring back the /0 so we can distinguish between the two, because you got to have good eyes to determine the round character and the oval character, and they get confused.
And of course that's the way we always used to write it back, when I was a novice, and back in the early '60s.
I write all my zeros.
Yeah, I do too.
Go,
pretty much.
What character is that?
yeah, and they don't make like mine is KEIL. The I just looks like a straight line. They don't make the the top and bottom, so you distinguish. Oh, is that a 1 or is that a?
Yeah, now I have problems with L's and I's and ones, kind of,
Yeah, people look at mine and say, "What's a keel?"
Let me tell you, my uncle, he got a call, WD4 ODP, and he got rid of that call as fast as he could. He said it looked like WD-40.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Never use that stuff. That's not allowed in my house.
It's not?
No. People misuse WD-40 like crazy. I found a can in the back of the garage, and I'm going to have to go take it out and destroy it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you got to have WD-40. You're doing that in duct tape.
Well, I have my double wide, backyard days, and I know exactly what WD-40 is good for. I know exactly what 3-in-1 is good for, and they're different things. So.
Yeah.
When I was on a volunteer fire department in Texas, every month we used to take all the ladders off the trucks and hit them with WD-40. And I finally grabbed the chief and I said, there's a reason we have to do this every month. It's because we're using WD-40. He said, but it works. I said, for about 2 weeks, and then all the ladders lock up. He said, what do you mean? I said, all it does is dry out and remove all the lubricant from whatever you put on the material.
Yeah.
He said, really? So WD-40 is a very specific water displacement, expose all the metal surfaces formula. And when you expose all the metal surfaces of aluminum, what do you get? Aluminum oxide. So a little bit of trivia, but some very important chemistry for those of us dealing with metals.
Well, I guess it'd be good to spray on a distributor.
That's exactly what people used it for all the time in the 60s and 70s. It really
I think that's, the
distributors.
WD, I think, stands for water displacement. And what it took a long time to get the right blend there, I guess, for the military.
It took them 40 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great product for exactly what it was engineered for, and for everything else, there's lubricant. So, but my favorite electronic anti-corrosive terminal treatment is some stuff called Cramelin from KEG, CAIG Laboratories, and somebody's still in business. It's a wonderful antioxidant for electronic contacts. It's solved numerous instrumentation problems for things. So if something's going to be out in the weather, it gets a little cotton swab of Cramelin and no problems. And I always marvel at people who go try and take out the steel wool or the abrasive or whatever and clean up those corrosion and don't realize that silver oxide is a really great conductor versus aluminum oxide or nickel plating and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Jim,
black
you
silver
mentioned
is not a bad thing.
You mentioned managing like 28,000 PCs. Of course, I retired 3 years ago from FedEx, and I managed their international IT group, worldwide, and we had about, I guess I had about 30,000. I had all voice data and radio systems, so we had about 30,000 everything, 30,000 PCs, 30,000 phones, 30,000 radios. I mean, that was kind of the average number. But I'm not a real technical PC repair type person, because I used to get into it too much. My people many years ago told me to get out and let them do what they were supposed to do. So I started managing. So when I have problems now, I have to count on help, man. You may have seen I've got a problem with the chroma key in this Wirecast. Chroma key just stopped working about 3 or 4 weeks ago in multiple PCs, and I can't make it work. And Wirecast, they don't know what's wrong with it. I think something updated, and we haven't been able to find out what it was.
Well, we need to look at that, because if I get a better camera here and then we start sharing stuff, I gotta get in tune with that. So it could be an interesting challenge.
Well, that Wirecast is what I'm using that to stream with. Everything's software driven. All the different mic shots and the audios and presets and lower thirds, everything's software driven. But the chroma key just it quit working. Something in the video area, in the video graphics area, quit working. Man, we have changed drivers out. We've fallen back to old drivers. We've tried new drivers. We've tried different things. It had to be some type of upgrade that caused this, but finding it is just, it's almost been impossible. So right now, normally I use green screen here. Right now, I just got the camera and everything turned around with my workbench in the background here. So, it's hard to do. I can't be in the space shuttle right now.
I'm going to suspect that you're probably running NVIDIA video systems on most everything, and NVIDIA is very strange about some of that stuff.
Let me tell you now. Well, I've tried both. I've got in this PC here. It's running Intel HD, Intel HD video, whatever it's called. I did install a NVIDIA video, whatever you call it, video graphics card, thinking that, okay, I'm going to put a different video card in there, something will change and, it'll pick up and it'll work. But even when I went with that card and switched video, it still the same problem. So we're not sure what in the world is causing it. This is Windows 10. I think something upgraded somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think Windows 10 itself would be a problem because it's not that far removed from 8 or 7, except for a couple of security and other layers.
But I've got a fairly high-end Alienware laptop.
Can't be much better
that I also put the program on.
Everything, so.
That I put the program on, and guess what? The blue screen on it stopped working about the same time. The chroma key.
All right. Well, I got to figure out what software you're running, and I can experiment because I got a whole lab full of stuff here.
Well, this is, and you know what? You can download this for a free trial or whatever. But this is Wirecast. This is Wirecast 7. You don't want to buy it. It's about $500. But it's called Wirecast 7, and everything, all the camera shots, everything are software configurable on the line here, and you just take your mouse and just like right now, there's you guys. I can click on me. I've changed the camera shots by just clicking on the mouse here. So
it's pretty good. I'm disappointed in my own video quality, so I got to get rid of my Logitech camera and put something else in here.
Yeah.
But your video is good. Your audio's been good through the whole thing. So I'll go look at that for you and see if I can figure something out.
Okay. If you get a chance to think about it, sure, think about it. We need all the help. Freddie came over. Freddie was one of my engineers that I moved here from Venezuela, and he's been here a long time, and he's really good on computers. He's come over, and we've tried everything from drivers to updating and falling back and different hardware, and oh man.
All right, well, I'll check into it.
The interesting thing is I've got an old program of Wirecast here, Wirecast 4. In Wirecast 4, the chroma key works in it, but it won't work in Windows 7.
Well, I have my beef with developers and other things, so maybe we need to have a conversation with them about coding, because I face this every day with people who develop applications, and the rapid development of applications and the lack of system awareness of programmers. They just copy and paste code modules and don't understand the implications. So
Mark,
you've given me something else to do in my cold nights out here in California.
Well, Mark P's asking me what we're running. Mark,
we got to get you a Mac if they're going to continue in that direction.
I'll tell you, Mac would be a good choice to run this on. It will run on a Mac, and I don't know. I've just from work all these years with like you say, tens and tens of thousands of PCs. It was really easy for me to work on them because, hey, you need a part from one or something, you just get it. But then if somebody had a Mac, it's kind of like it's in a strange country or something. I mean, it's like, it's foreign, But the Macs are good. It's just that, boy, I have almost zero experience.
I don't know anybody in the graphics production business who.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't use a Mac, and when it comes to things like Lucasfilms and Disney, all that stuff is rendered on massive Unix boxes that are they've got nothing to do with either consumer platform. So but the graphics and
Mark here in the chat
to the software industry anymore. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, in the chat room, Mark is asking me a question. Mark, it's Windows 10 and it's Wirecast 7, But Mark, it used to work. It's worked for months and months, and then it just quit working. It just stopped, and it stopped in multiple PCs. But an older version will still work. I've got to think some update somewhere changed. I'm not getting much help from Telestream. That's the company that made the software. They don't seem to know what the problem is. But, we're getting by. I mean, this is working fine. It's just I don't have green screen capability right here. But, and I don't want to go back to my version 4 because I paid $500 for this one. This one needs to work.
Well, we may need to go to Microsoft and look at what updates that they applied that affect access to the GPU.
Yep.
And I've got corporate level people that understand the updates, so we may have to go back out and update. The unfortunate part about Windows 10, and this is problematic for us in corporate now, is that the individual patches for the Windows operating system are very difficult to separate out from their monthly update Wednesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Oh yeah. You don't know the difference sometimes.
Yeah, and we're fighting that all the time. That we sometimes have to go in and microscopically back out a certain KB article, which means some surgery on the part of packagers and our support people to go isolate just one particular update that has messed up Java or IE or VPN or network access. There's all kinds of crazy things. So I suspect that this cycle of Microsoft dumping everything on you is going to last up to another year before they go back to the capability of selective updates. I appreciate what they're trying to do with simplifying the they're not taking into account a great deal of development and test cycle in their processes. So Microsoft's going to have to back off some of this within the next year, or corporate America is just going to blow them off.
Yeah, I'm finding every time I get an update for Windows 10, I used to use Internet Explorer a lot for stuff, and every time I get an update, it seems like the Internet Explorer, if I happen to be using that one, just runs slower and slower, keeps locking up, redo that. It's like it's telling me that we don't want you to use it anymore. You got to use Edge.
Well, Edge has got some advantages in that they finally extracted the browser from all the clause in the operating system. But in the real world, you still have major business enterprise applications that leverage IE for their configuration. So I get to go bitch at SAP and Oracle and all that. It's really kind of cool for me to go tell Oracle and Java developers that your work sucks. And they go, "Who are you?" I go back to before you were born with a PC in your mouth. And they go, "Okay, we'll take that into consideration." It's very strange, but the development cycle of software today is very much based on the principle called Scrum, and there's another word for it too. So these guys are turning software on a very, very rapid basis without any lab or qualification. When you consider that we have 350 million computers in the universe on the internet, the alpha beta cycles of development that we're used to in hardware and software just kind of evaporate to throw it out there and see what happens. So this is backfiring a little bit on the world, but if you know enough about the architecture and you know enough about granularity of drivers and things like that, you can go back to Microsoft and say, "Hey, KB 357.44493.7 doesn't work in our environment. How do I isolate that from my 29,000 patch push?"
Yeah.
Then they kind of go, "Oh, yeah. Well, we've heard a little bit about that in the back lab. All right, so I can fix this." Yeah. It's kind of problematic. The consumerization of IT has been a big problem for the real money making world, but is also a similar challenge for amateur radio. If we go back to what is ham radio, and you look at people we're bringing in now, and they want to treat a Chinese radio like it's a cell phone. Like, wow, really? Yeah, there's a little bit more technology behind this than updating an app. And that's, Tom, that's where we come into the Elmering category of booting people up into the technology they're playing with, which is very essential. If you're going to be a really, really good ham and really enjoy this hobby, it's a little bit more than a $35 radio and Chirp software to appreciate what's going on.
Yeah, but if I don't have my Chirp software, I can't program that bullthing. As a matter of fact, Windows 10 won't let me run the Chirp. I can't get it to work. I have an older laptop that I got Chirp on, and I can program. I just keep that one in case I got to program the bullthing.
Oh, wait, I may start off. I may have a whole new consultancy here of making stuff work. Chirp, I really admire the guys at Chirp for what they've been able to do, and I even have a beef with Prolific and the FIDI serial port devices and everything else. Everybody thinks, well, let's remove this driver, and I dug into the internals of removing what installs a driver, and you're not changing a binary piece of code. All these quote unquote drivers are merely parameter files to tell the USB sir.dll or sys file in Windows how to behave with this particular piece of crap you just plugged in. So I may have to go back to Prolific and say, dudes, when you say uninstall my driver, would you please go into the registry and clear out the crap you wrote in there? This is really lousy, lousy stuff. The world of it's more complicated and sinister in Linux because you don't know where things are. In Windows, you can find the things that people have done, and unfortunately, people who are programming in today's environment just don't get it. I have designed, I have directed programmers, I have tested stuff, and when some vendor tells me a bunch of crap about uninstalling a driver, they don't know what hit them when I come back to them with, here's exactly your registry key, here's your device ID, here's the binary you installed. Can you not please go in and delete? Maybe we'll talk about that in the next product meeting. No, you will deal with this in the next product meeting because all you're writing is a registry key. So it's come on, old age and treachery. Look at us. We know stuff. There's intelligence. There's knowledge in this.
Hey, I'm getting a little thin myself up here. I'll just, man.
You're doing fine, Tom.
I don't know, man. That's getting kind of thin there.
Yeah, those are brain cells. Those are maturity, intelligence, and common sense up there.
Yeah, mine hasn't thinned. It just done up and walked away.
Mike, you just cut yours close, don't you?
Mike, you're lucky. It's all internal now.
Yeah. That's the last thing in life I've got to worry about is for the hair stayed on my head.
I have a great collection of ball calves, so I'm not too worried about my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have one stepson who's a development manager for a couple of major .coms, and he comes over to the house and he has his complaints about his staff and everything else. And I go, but do they know anything about what the code they're writing? Well, no, it's just web code. I go, well, there's their problem. They don't understand the audience. You isolate them from the audience. Go tell them to go out to a computer fair and engage in the user experience. You can't do that. Blah, blah. I said, you're paying them $2 an hour to write code in India. Give me a break.
Mm.
Tell me that's hurting your bottom line. It's kind of sad. But anyway, I mean, but Tom's got this hardware project designed by a guy in India who's obviously pretty up there at genius level, who's actually not taking from the world, but gave back a significant project, which could be something we need to get out there for the do-it-yourselfers. And how do I do radio?
Let me tell you, the board there that you see, and Jim, have you seen a close-up picture of it?
A couple of them, yeah.
It's a beautiful board. It's not a bad board. It's a beautiful board. It's larger. It's large surface mount technology, but what they've done is they put this together in India, where women are building these to give them work, to give them something to do in their life, and make them productive. Yes. So the women are building these things, and then they're going through. Maybe they test them. I don't know, or somebody test them before they're shipped out. But the boards look beautiful, man.
Well,
high quality.
I think that's great that. Between Facebook and Oracle and Microsoft and Dell, etc., that we are empowering and enriching those environments. I just got a staff of, 4 and then 6. Now I got 8 people that sort of quasi report to me, who are brilliant resources. And as you engage them on a daily basis and understand their lives, and this has been going on for years. We really have to understand the environment that when they leave their workspace, they're going back to a third world. And this concerns me, for all the billions, all the American .com companies make from reducing costs to offshoring things. The folks in India are absolutely brilliant. They really are. They're a little insistent. They have some issues, but they're every bit as capable as people here should be. And where I get really concerned is when they tell me, well, we have to go home, we have to get our cab, or we have to get our car. And one guy that worked with me, and I have a clock on India time. It's 9:24 in the morning over there. Because that's when my staff is awake and working. And it really concerned me when one of my employees said, well, I hope I make it home safe. That was a very interesting moment in my life, that these people leave very secure, very modern, very wonderful tech compounds, and they're tossed back into society and environment that we would never, ever exist in and never wish on anybody else. Now, it may be different for the folks but I'm really concerned that, these guys get $20 a day, maybe $100 a day, and they're brilliant people. Mm-hmm. So I would want to look at this project as whatever do to improve their plight environmentally, humanitarian wise, just like we have empathy for the Philippines and the other places that are getting hit by hurricanes and tsunamis. This could be a great universal cause for the hobby. That's a beautiful board. Look at that thing. Yeah. Look at that. That's great work. And between helping them and instilling the people over here who don't know which end of a soldering iron to pick up, I think there's something to this, Tom. This is a great project. And I've got a 10-year-old sitting here with a couple of electronics kits that I won't let near a handsaw. But if I can introduce him eventually to building a radio with that module, he's got a great sense of accomplishment, especially if he can fire it up, turn it on, and talk to somebody wherever.
So
this is a great project.
Let me show
this
you.
is better than the KX2 or
let me
3
fix
kit.
this so you can see this. Hang on. This is that's how it comes. You see the board right there? That's what you have to put on it. He sends you the volume control, the mic, the tuning control, the push to talk switch, the antenna connector, and you have, that's the cables you have to solder to those, like the volume pipe. He furnishes the cable with the plug on the end. You just have to solder the 3 wires to the volume control, and then you plug it in. That's all it takes right there to make that thing work.
It's gorgeous. It's absolutely wonderful.
Now right there, that's using the internal VXO, which drifts like crazy, and that's why we all went with the Arduino, which made it rock solid. And also now he's supplying it with Arduino VFO now. So that comes with it basically, and it would be just like this. You just hook the wires together.
Well, I think what needs to happen, it needs, I'm insisting, and I don't need to do that, but I'm kind of projecting. There's a lot of kits. If you have a local Fry store, you'll notice all the Arduino and evolving. Can we build an application note and an article around this kit and the associated components, and a tutorial of the circuits and the essential things you need to know about radio that this implements?
Yeah.
This would be very valuable. I mean, grabbing a green board and plugging stuff onto it is one part of it. There's instant results.
He's got it all broken out on the website. If you go to hfsigs.com, he's got the diagrams, he's got the theory behind it, he's got it broken out into, this is the oscillator, this is the audio amp, this is the bandpass filter, and he's got it broken out, and he shows you and explains it. And this is using bidirectional amplifiers. This is, not many people do this. But this is all using bidirectional amplifier technology.
So, how can we take this to the likes of a Maker Faire?
Well,
that's where people are getting exposed to this. Aside from Boy Scouts and code oscillators and things like that.
Yeah.
First time I heard about the Maker Faire, I think I was reading QST this month's magazine. I didn't know what a Maker Faire was, but there was an article in this.
The ARRL, but my long history, and the only reason I'm a member of the ARRL is so I have a legitimate paid reason to bitch at them. But constructively, is they are a lobby and facilitation group, which is very valuable. And trying to get them for outreach beyond their beyond their teaching clinics for science classes, it concerns me why the ARRL does not partner with Maker as the entree point for new membership, for advocacy of technology, but the regulatory issues are very significant for the stretched ARRL folks. So what can we do to leverage the likes of Maker and this kind of open source access to things to build a new growth for empowering and enabling kids to deal with this? And I come at this from, are you familiar with Mike Rowe? Dirty Jobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Mike, yeah.
Okay. Mike Rowe, Discovery and CNN stuff, created a foundation called Mike Rowe Works. And it's all about shovel-ready infrastructure, craft, trade stuff. and I've sent multiple emails to his foundation. I've not called them yet. I said, Mike, this is not the only thing we have a huge gap in this country. There's technology, but it's not in his scope. So I am working on developing a TechWorks Foundation, which I don't care which direction it goes, but I think it needs to happen. That I think should embrace the ARRL, Maker, Tech. What better bridge? Because my career came out of ham radio.
Yeah.
From communications to medical and scientific instruments to computers, we've got to attach and engage kids in this. Because, okay, so I can grab an Arduino board and I can make a robot arm go up and down. Yippee skippy. But where does that take them? The fact that I had 4 grandkids here finally talking to Santa Claus on Friday or Saturday night, it's like, wow, how do you talk to Santa Claus? And I couldn't make out a thing Santa was saying because the noise floor on 40 meters is so bad. But I had 4 grandkids realize that Santa was talking to them.
Yeah.
This was a moment. I didn't know how to capture this moment except through one grandkid who said, Santa, I want electronics for Christmas. Oh my God. Was that was something. So this project, Maker, basic skills, basic electronics, we, the gray hairs, know how to do this. We know how to do this. I've dealt with broadcast people, computer people, two-way radio, public safety. We all realize that at 65, nobody's going to know how to install a mobile radio in a police car or a fire truck. Nobody's going to know how to install a satellite dish or a microwave thing because it's all Internet of Things. It's all consumerization. We know this stuff. I mean, we know. Capital no.
You're talking good. I started in 1972 in the police department. I retired law enforcement, and we had these Motorola knee knocker radios back in those days. And now look what they've got.
Yeah, they've got a Japanese Kenwood something in their cars, and I follow the whole genre. I mean, the reason I finally got my tech is my high school electronics instructor. In my high school, we had a full complement industrial arts class. This is early 70s. My electronics instructor worked his way through teaching college in a Motorola radio shop. Cool, score. So when he got his first new school assignment, he had a blank slate for his classroom. So he took half of his office, bisected it, made it a ham station. The 2 major lab benches in the back of the classroom were color TV, stereo, audio, blah, 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 consumer electronics. And the other half of the bench was a mini Motorola service station. Guess where I grew up? This was the time, 69, 70, 70, 71, when all the cab companies, etc., were offloading their T43 GGV trunk-mounted tube-type cab radios for Motrans and Motrax. I put more people on 2-meter FM modifying cab radios to 146.94 than anybody in the state of Wisconsin when I was 14.
My first.
Because my dad was a ham, and every ham in town knew who I was. Whenever I brought a new radio up under the school's call sign, they knew who was doing it. And finally, the electronics instructor said, "You need to come over this summer and test for your tech. I'm tired of carrying your call sign." So, okay, fine. I did that. So I had the benefit of some amazing teaching moments and mentors between broadcast and commercial radio. And I'm sitting here going, where do we go with this? Who do we hand this to?
Well, you know,
Well,
Jim,
my
my
10-year-old grandson
Yeah.
who's going to love taking this radio board and talking to Santa next year if I can get him to build it.
well, you know, hey, hey, it's what they need to do today. Don't do like I did, and like you're talking about. Hey, in the early '60s, my first 2-meter rig was a Motorola. I forget the model number. It was similar to what you're talking about. It was a Motorola tube taxi cab radio. It didn't go in the trunk. It had the head mounted on the front of it. The thing weighed about 35 pounds. I would carry it out to the car every day, put it in when I drive to work. When I get home, I'd carry it back in the house and plug it in. It was a 2-channel tube Motorola. I don't know. I want to call
Did it have a dynamotor or a vibrator?
No, it didn't have a dynamotor. I don't remember it even having a vibrator in it. But anyway, boy, I mean, and you know, that was some radio. It was big. It was heavy. And hey, my first 2-meter antenna was about a 10-inch square piece of copper taped down on top of the car with a tuna fish can upside down, soldered to it.
Yep.
With a PL259 in the top of the tuna fish can and a 19-inch whip. That was the antenna.
Best antenna ever. All these guys who were constructing J-poles, I'm going like, where did the J-pole come from? And nobody knows where the magical J-pole came from. But everybody's building one. Like, why are you doing that? You know, for $5, you can build an antenna that's better than a J-pole, lighter, and you can scrunch it up and put it in your pocket. No, I love my J-pole. Really? Why? But okay, that's my pet peeve. That's
Hey guys, I'm going to have to call it a night here.
All right, Mike.
Mike, great.
Bill number 2 texted he had to go take care of his mom. It's after 11 o'clock here. Nice meeting you, Jim.
Mike, my pleasure.
Yeah, I live up in Marquette, Michigan, in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I'm right up here in the southern shore of Lake Superior.
Oh, so it's really freaking cold up there, right?
Oh, it's not bad. It's 17 degrees right now.
Oh, not bad. I left that place, but I left Wisconsin in 70 after the ice storm of 78. A blizzard that was minus 40, minus 76 last year. And I moved to Virginia for 6 or 8 months, and then back to then off to Texas, and I have not looked snow in the face since.
Okay, well, I
God
got
bless
snow
you.
in the face here. But I'm about a mile from Lake Superior right here from my house.
Oh yeah, it's one of the Great Lakes. Well, I envy you, and if you ever put a Flex 6300 on the air, I want remote access because you guys get much better EUDX than we do out here in the California.
Okay, but I got to call it tonight, guys. Been interesting. I'll see you guys. Listen to you the next year.
All right, and you know what?
Happy New Year, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna get off here too. It's late. I think I'm gonna get me a peanut butter sandwich and watch a little TV and take it easy. And thanks to all you guys for joining us tonight. And Jim, enjoyed having you on Hangout.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Mike. It's been great. Good old times. More of the same to come.
Good night, guys.
All right, guys, and we'll see you later.
Hey, Tom, I'll see you next week.
Okay. All right, man. We'll.
Next week I'll be free.
You're gonna be free.
Yeah, free.
Okay.
Yeah, free from that dirty ward.
Okay. All right. We'll see you. See you next week.
See you later, Tom.
All right. If anybody's still left out there, appreciate you joining us tonight. We'll see you next Tuesday. It's gonna be a good show. We got the man behind the Bix BITX 40 is gonna be on with us next week. This Amateur Radio Roundtable is brought to you.
Hi, my name is Wolf. Call sign is Delta Charlie 9 Foxtrot Oscar. And during the winter time, I don't stay in Germany. I like to go to Kenya. But even here, I like to watch the videos of W5KUB. Thanks a lot for them. 7-3.
Hi, this is Lou.